Welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be with you.
You know, I seem to recall that in the Dodd-Frank Act, there were provisions there providing for so-called living wills that would kick in if these systemically significant institutions like the J.P. Morgans, like the Goldman Sachs, ran into financial distress, would cause them to dissolve, basically. If you've got that, why do you need this?
Well, capitalism calls for the growth of companies and sometimes the bankruptcy of companies. And just because you have a, quote, living will, a plan for bankruptcy, does not mean that your demise could not be catastrophic to the economy. Too big to fail is too big to exist. And when a bank reaches 3% of GDP, it has an unfair advantage over other banks because Wall Street believes that it will be bailed out, that their creditors at least will be bailed out. And for that reason, and according to an IMF study, they have an 80 basis point lower cost of capital. That's why the independent bankers, community bankers, a group that represents the vast majority of bank presidents, has called for the breakup of the too big to fail institutions.
So is this bill, Congressman, about the competitiveness of small banks versus large banks, or are you really trying to get at what you say could cause the next financial crisis? Because correct me if I'm wrong, the last financial crisis wasn't caused by the sheer size of banks, it was the leverage of banks. And if you collectively broke up these banks and they took on the same amount of leverage, collectively they could have had the same impact on the economy.
When you have a variety of different companies in an industry, it's far less likely that they'll all go bankrupt. But if you have that entire industry in the hands of one company, or so much in one company, that its exposure allows them to call the White House and say, you've got to bail us out, because if we're going down, we're taking the whole economy with us. No one company, no one bank should be able to do that. That's why we need fair competition. And also, if you get more health among the community banks, you're going to have more financing of small business. And that is so important because, for example, we had Jamie Dimon testify before our committee that he couldn't find small American businesses to loan money to, so he sent his money to London where it was eaten by the whale. So we'll have a healthier economy if we do not have institutions so large that one institution going down could take down the entire economy.
So tell us a little bit about how large is large. You say 3% of GDP. Measured by what? By assets, by market capitalization size, by revenue, what?
Well, at this point, we have it based on assets, but other exposure. I think it should be liabilities to U.S. persons. So the Senator Sanders has his bill, which he is introducing. We had a substantially a bill that we had worked on with Senator Sanders for many years and introduced many times, but we'll be refining our bill to focus on liabilities to U.S. persons. So if Deutsche Bank goes under, that would be terrible for the world, but not particularly for the United States.
So that's curious because in banking terms, isn't an asset a loan that the bank has made to someone else? They count that as an asset. That's not a liability that they have to someone else. It's the liability that someone else has to them.
Exactly. Obviously, for most banks, liabilities and assets are very closely related. Of course, you have owner's equity on the balance sheet as well, but that tends to be a small portion of the balance sheet compared to liabilities and assets. And the system for regulation may focus more on assets and liabilities as a way to measure the size of a bank. But if you were really looked at what we're trying to accomplish here, it would be looking at liabilities, including certain contingent liabilities, to U.S. persons.
I don't really understand what you're trying to accomplish in this bill, in that you're adding on this whole notion of making banking more competitive, leveling the playing field between the big banks and the small banks, but at the same time you're saying the big banks need to be broken up because of the risk to the global economy. What is it? I mean, what is really the purpose of the bill? Is it the security of the economy, or is it just your desire to make it more competitive with small banks?
Both. Because a bank could call Washington and say, you have to bail us out. That is a risk to our political system. It is a risk to taxpayers. but it's also an unfair advantage for the bank in securing loan capital, because they're paying, according to the IMF, 80 basis points less for their capital than they would otherwise, because of a belief on Wall Street that in addition to all the other security that bank has, they have a hotline to Washington that a medium-sized bank or a small bank wouldn't have. So the possibility of a bailout gives them an unfair advantage. The possibility of a bailout is a risk to taxpayers, but it's also a risk to our political system as well.
Congressman Sherman, thank you very much for your explanation. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
And we should note that we've reached out to the Financial Services Roundtable for comment on the bill, but we have not yet received a response.
All right, well, now that there is a NAFTA replacement deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, there are some surprise winners and losers. Ilan Moy is live in D.C. with that story. Hi, Ilan.
Melissa, we have talked a lot about what this agreement means for farmers and for factory workers, but what does it mean for football? Tucked inside the USMCA is a little something for the NFL. Gone is the ban on Canadian broadcasters selling local ads that air during the Super Bowl. Now, the game is one of the biggest TV events in Canada. More ad sales, the NFL believes, will ultimately benefit the football industry. Now, Commissioner Roger Goodell said he greatly appreciates President Trump's leadership on this issue. Another surprising winner in this, whiskey, specifically American rye whiskey. That's now under consideration as a distinctive product in the new trade deal. You wouldn't be able to call it American rye whiskey unless it's made in the USA. It's at least 51% alcohol and is distilled in new charred oak barrels. Now, one clear loser in this is China. Now, the country is not mentioned by name, but deep inside the text of this deal is a provision that would allow the U.S. to withdraw if Canada or Mexico signs a free trade agreement with a non-market country. That would be China. And this is a very controversial provision, and it's clearly an attempt by the White House to box in Beijing. Guys, this shows just how expansive and wide-ranging the deal really is, and it could take years before we fully understand how it will shape our economy in ways large and small.
So
Back
two
over to you.
questions. I'm going to keep them separate for once in my life. The first question is, that last provision you were talking about is clearly pointed at China, but would it affect any deal that Canada struck with any other individual country?
If it's considered a non-market economy, then yes. And it gives both Canada and Mexico and the U.S. actually the right to withdraw from the deal. It doesn't mean they have to withdraw from the deal, but it gives them that option.
And someone would obviously have a definition of what a non-market country is, would be a command and control economy. I suppose that's what they're driving at. Let's talk about something that you and I have been talking about a little bit offline, and that is how foreign-branded cars that are made in the United States, like many Hondas, like some Toyotas, like some BMWs, Mercedes, how are they taxed or tariffed under this new proposal? These obviously support American jobs, but some of those machines may consist mostly of foreign-sourced parts.
So what is important in this deal